All right, welcome to day one. All right, so title of this one is How Sweet It Is. I want to tell you how glad I am you guys are joining me on this journey. I am really excited, and I'm excited about the things that you're going to learn and experience and discover. We're going to go over a lot of information, and it's going to be a little easy to get overwhelmed. I want you to take a deep breath and just know we're going to take this in baby steps. And the rest is just practice. So I liked this and I wanted to start this to kind of remind you. Malcolm Gladwell refers to something known as the 10,000 hour rule. And this is based on research done by Anders Ericsson. Ericsson found that it took roughly 10,000 hours of dedicated practice in a particular area of focus for us to achieve mastery. Now, a lot of us have mastered a certain way of living through a lot of practice. In order for us to undo that and become more skilled in another way of living, it's necessary for us to practice. Now, I realize that most people don't think of learning about food and nutrition as a practice, but it is. And so I want you to start off each day and every session reminding yourself you're showing up, you're doing the work. By watching these videos, doing your lessons, you're taking an active role in changing your life and practicing on mastering this new way of living. Now, because it actually takes about 10,000 hours, don't expect to be perfect. So, but remind yourself that by showing up, you're doing the right thing. So that deserves your self appreciation. Your continued positive reinforcement will actually help you build strong new habits. Also, remind yourself that there are no limits to what you can achieve. So, today we are going to discuss sugar and why we want it and is it addictive? So, when we were all living off the land and grocery stores were not around, sugar in the form of fruit and honey had a role. Okay, it aided in our survival. It provided valuable glucose we needed for energy. It actually helped us hold fat, keeping us warm in the winter, and it triggered our appetite. So we would eat more. Food was often scarce, so it was really important we ate as much as we could during the times that food was available for when it wasn't available. Now, with the invention of the refrigerator and the 24-hour convenience store, none of that applies. So, if it doesn't apply, then why do we still want sugar so much? Well, it tastes good and it seems to call to us. It says, Eat me. Um, does that happen because it's very addictive? Yes and no. It's not really the sugar we are addicted to, but the taste of sweetness that drives our cravings and addictions. So, by now, I'm sure most of you have probably heard the study about the cocaine addicted rats telling us that sugar is more addictive than cocaine. But that really isn't the whole truth. There have been numerous studies done with these rats in a wide variety of sweet sources. The conclusions were that the sweeter the substance, the greater the craving or the addiction. It didn't matter whether it was a calorie latent sugary source like table sugar or a 0 calorie sugar or sweetener like saccharin or sucralose. In these studies, the cocaine addicted rats were actually fed sucralose, which was Splenda, and it was about 600 times the sweetness of regular table sugar. So think of a tablespoon of sugar and 600 of those on the other side. And that's what those sweeteners are. When offered the choice between the cocaine or the sucralose, rats chose the sucralose. Most mammals' sweet receptors, and this includes rats and humans, we were only evolved for certain concentrations of sweetness like what was found in fruit, meaning our taste buds weren't designed for the certain loads of sweetness that we are currently feeding it. So when the sweet receptors were overfed this level of sweetness beyond what they were actually adapted to handle. What it does is it triggers this supranormal reward response in the brain, like cocaine or crack. Basically, the intense signal of the sweetness overrides our intelligent understanding of its detriment, meaning we want it even though we know it's bad for us. So, what does this mean for you? Well, willpower doesn't work. It's not really your fault. It's not your week. It's kind of like fighting, you're a man and you're having to fight Superman. So when we eat sugar, the brain also produces high surges of dopamine. Now, dopamine is often called the reward hormone, but it's actually the motivation hormone. It says, I need more stat. So it's the same impulse that people that have alcohol addictions, gambling, drugs, this is what they feel. So studies found that repeatedly feeding on these levels of sweetness released a continual stream of dopamine. Now, remember, I said that dopamine was the motivation hormone. Its motivation is for you to eat more sugar. It does this by actually delaying the release of other hormones that would signal satiety, which is that feeling of fullness. So, dopamine suppresses those and keeps you hungry. And if you're hungry, you're going to eat more sugar. So our sweet receptors were actually only calibrated for the level of a ripe banana. So anything beyond that triggers this supernormal reward response. It's causing us to have these superhuman like powerful cravings. So it's not your fault. And we don't have to find superhuman strength to deal with willpower. We just need to figure out what to do and apply those methods. Now, part of the problem is that food companies know all of this. Okay, they know how our body and our brains react to sugar. They know how addictive it is. They've done their homework. They know the effect sugar has on your body, and they keep putting it in everything in order to keep us addicted to their products so we keep buying more of them. I realize that this sounds a bit paranoid, but it's true. These companies know it makes you crave and that you're going to keep eating more. At stores, they keep it in your direct view and even pay more for key locations in the grocery stores. They put the cereals, the sodas, the candy bars on the bottom shelves. And if you'll notice, at every checkout aisle, it's all down at low level. And they do this so your kids will see it. Your kids will beg you to buy them these products, and you buy them just to keep them quiet. They actually call this pester power. This is profits over health. So we have to be more aware of what food companies are doing and what they're putting in our food. Unless we start speaking up and not buying unhealthy products, nothing's going to change. Not all countries are like this. Europe actually requires their food manufacturers to post warning labels on all the products that contain artificial food dyes. They wanted parents to be warned about the dangers of these food colorings and the scientific, negative effects that were proven to have on children. Kraft Macaroni and Cheese, who sold in Europe, decided it was a better idea to replace their artificial food dyes and colorants with paprika and beta carotene, which was a natural colorant. They did this so they didn't have to post a big red warning label on their boxes so people wouldn't want to buy their products. They did not, however, change the multiple food dyes added and sold to children in the United States because the FDA didn't require they had to. So a consumer group led by Vani Hari, who is called the Food Babe, got wind of this and started publicly publicizing this information on social media, along with getting a petition of over 350 100,000 people, which got Kraft's attention. So, in order to avoid the bad publicity, Kraft changed the ingredients on the boxes sold to the kids in the United States, which was so nice of them. So right now, sugar is actually sold in about 80% of all processed foods, all boxed foods. This includes organic foods, natural products, most breads, spices, marinades, pickles, and this one still kind of blows my mind, vitamins. And not just gummies, but actually the capsules, which I can't figure out why it's in there, but it is. And not just one type of sugar. Sometimes there's multiple in there. But why do they do this? Because it makes you eat more. Manufacturers know that if they can keep you hungry, you'll buy more food. Have you ever eaten something that was really good, and even though you were completely full, you felt you had to keep eating it? These are flavorings. So, artificial and natural flavorings. So, natural flavorings are not natural, they're actually created in a lab and not found in nature. Scientists are hired with the specific objective to create something that will chemically signal your brain to keep eating, even though you're no longer hungry. Natural flavorings can actually contain up to 2,000 different ingredients found or extracted in nature. One flavorant, so one thing on your box that says natural flavorings can combine hundreds of ingredients and chemicals. The FDA does not require these companies to disclose what is in these flavorings because the volumes are in smaller quantities. So instead of listing 200 ingredients that might be actually found in one food and listed under natural flavors, the manufacturer just lets them put natural flavors and not the 200 ingredients that are in there. So we don't sometimes really know what we are consuming if we're eating things that say natural or artificial flavors. They can contain sweeteners too, and some of these sweeteners can be up to 200 times as sweet as sugar, and they're not telling us that. The FDA defines natural flavors as any flavorant created from substances extracted from plants or animal sources. So here's a little list of some of the things that are actually classified as a natural flavorant: spices, fruits, fruit juices, vegetables, vegetable juices, edible yeasts, bark, herb, buds, root, leaves, plants, plant material, dairy products, including fermented products, animal byproducts, hello vegetarians, animal and bug excrement. It's true. I wish it wasn't, but it is. Animal and bugs, skin, bones, feathers, hair, fish parts, viruses and bacteria, wood chips, sawdust, sugar, and a lot of zero-calorie sweeteners. MSG is actually one of the most common natural flavors found in these foods. So, another way that manufacturers get us hooked on their products is through their advertising. So this is a form of brain conditioning. So first they taste condition us. Now they're going to brain condition us. And their ads are designed to make you feel emotional connections centered around food. So when we feel connected, they know they have us. So they show us ads kind of depicting how we want to be. So we see ads of skinny, happy, smiling people, socially elite, well-dressed, educated, financially secure, friendships, community, these family bonds, romantic connections, and relationships. Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Hershey's, all have ads showing the best of people. Okay, we see a boy being picked on at school. The commercial flashes to the pretty neighbor girl that brings them a Coke and a smile. And these ads connect us to our history and our own struggles, our challenges, our passions, and the causes that we like to get behind. They try to reach you on a familiar level and make you feel connected to their products. So they might show us ads, birth of a new baby, a man proposing, true love, family reunions where everyone is hugging and smiling, multi race and cultural connections, hands around the world, where all people live in harmony, sporting events where our team is victorious. These ads appeal to our need for happy endings and connections. They want you to feel like if you had their product in your life would be better. Advertisers trigger our emotional deficits by showing us glimpses of what our life could be like. Alcohol ads showing skinny, beautiful people. Fattening, sugary food ads consumed by people with perfect skin and zero weight problems. In our minds, we're thinking, what the hell's wrong with me? If these people can do it, why can't I? And they want that. These advertisers also trigger our childhood insecurities and the areas that we felt we didn't have, our deficiencies. So this is one particular commercial I had seen. It's this young boy was being picked on by other boys at school, and he came home and he walks home and he's sad and he's blue, and he gets home and his dad is there, and his dad sees the look on his face, and without saying anything, and the boy isn't telling him what happened, he signals for his son to get in the car. And they take a quiet ride, and the camera pans to the boy's face, and he looks just crestfallen with these big sad eyes. And the dad turns the car, and you of course see that golden arches McDonald's sign, and the boy's face looks surprised and a bit excited. They go in, the dad orders 2 ice cream sundaes, pats his son on the head, pulls him in for an affectionate squeeze. Okay, we see this, we want it. We want this in our history. We want that for our own pains. And somehow, on a subconscious level, we feel like if we eat their product, we'll feel better too. Okay, this isn't reality. Logically, we know ice cream doesn't fix the problem, but many of us try this. We eat like this when we've had a hard day. Our inadequacies get brought up, and somehow we think that those foods might make us feel better, so we eat them. Food is a powerful magnet, and if we're not paying attention, it will draw us in every time. Food manufacturers and advertisers have successfully and strategically inundated all of your holidays to be centered around sweet foods. So now the holidays, actually, most of us don't even know what the holidays are anymore, what the initial purpose was, because it's all about food and alcohol. Valentine's Day is about chocolates. Easter is jelly beans, Easter egg hunts, bright colored filled baskets. The 4th of July is about desserts, brownies, apple pie, ice cream. Christmas, oh my God, chocolate, cookies, treats, cakes, alcohol, wine, everything food, and not just for a day, for the month. So, and you can look this up, but do you know the number one reason that people delay making necessary, even life-threatening changes to their diets? The holidays. I'll do it after. I'll be fine. But they're not fine. And the birthdays are getting crazier. These are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I actually saw a video not that long ago on a social media post where someone was sharing their 1-year-old's first birthday party. And this is again for a 1-year-old. The parents were celebrating their little flower. So everything was flower themed. Everything on the table was a dessert shaped like a flower. I actually didn't see any other food at the party other than sugar. And it's scary to think how early we're getting our kids addicted to sugar. We could also start helping them love healthier foods like fruits and vegetables. I know a few health conscious parents that have received quite a bit of criticism from other parents because they're not feeding their kids sugar. So instead of sweets, they give their kids fruit and are ridiculed by their parents who believe that they're depriving their children of the right to be kids by not giving them sugar. When did we start to think that a good childhood had to be centered around sugar and sweets? So, your assignment tonight is I want you to start familiarizing yourself with your food labels. I want you to read the labels of everything you eat and drink, and maybe even more, to kind of see what is in your cabinet, what is in your refrigerator. Start to notice what these foods that you're eating contain. Products are product ingredients. So this is the ingredient list. Don't look at the nutritional content. So the actual list of ingredients. It's long. Get out your magnifying glass if you have bad eyes, because I know they're making them smaller and smaller and smaller. So we don't read them. Product ingredients are listed in order of their quantities. So from highest to lowest. This means that the first ingredient in that product is going to be what's found the most in that particular product. So a good rule of thumb is to look, now I want you to still read all the ingredients, but look at the first 5 ingredients and see what you're eating. If most of the first 5 ingredients are sugar, then most of that product is sugar. I also want you to start being aware of hidden sugars. So hidden sugars are the sneaky names for sugar manufacturers will use instead. And they do this in hopes that you won't recognize that it's not sugar, and you'll keep buying their product. So in your resource section, in your lesson notes today, I provided you with a PDF listing the most common names for sugar. This is by no means all of them, but it's a great place to start. And this list is also found in day 1 of your survival guide. So be sure to print those out. Sugar is hiding everywhere. Remember, it is also being added and hiding under the labels natural and artificial flavors. These flavors contain sugar and sweetened substances. These are in most snack foods, organic and healthy foods, flavored coffees and teas. A lot of coffees and teas that should not taste sweet are very sweet because they contain sweeteners. And they're hiding in that product under the term natural flavors. So these food companies count on the idea that if you see the word natural, you'll think, oh, okay, natural, that's healthy. So I'm eating something healthy, but you're not. It's not true. So understand that the word natural is not healthy. It does not mean healthy. And they've counted on this. And I feel like that is probably one of the most evil words out there as far as under labels, because it's deceptive. These flavors also combine a large number of ingredients. Their intent is to keep your taste buds triggered and make you want more of them. So while reading your labels, start to notice for those, and then also notice what else is on there. If you don't know or you can't pronounce it, should you be eating it? So maybe look up and see what some of the things are on the labels that you're eating. Also, if you have not joined the private rebooted community yet, then be sure to do that. Now, each week, I am going to have a live question and answer opportunity that you're not going to want to miss. But if you're not in the group, you're not going to see those posts. So be sure to get on there. You're going to see where you can join in for that live opportunity and ask me one-on-one, two-on-one, how many people are on there, the questions that you might have or anything that you're needing more help with. Also, share what you discover on your food labels with the group, and I will see you tomorrow for day 2.